Luca, data protection, that's going to be your topic, right?
Yes, that's what we do.
That's what you do. So tell us who you are and who you're working for.
Okay, my name is Luca Dell'Oca. I'm from Italy, but I will try to be sharp and on time. Even if
No chance.
No chance,
No chance,
you think?
no.
And I work as a principal cloud architect at Veeam Software,
All right.
which is a company who develops software solution for data protection.
Okay. So very nice. Since when are you here now? Since yesterday, the day before yesterday?
Monday.
Since Monday?
Yep.
You having fun so far?
A lot.
That's good. That's good. How's the coffee?
Next question. I'm from Italy, remember?
All right, I know. That's why I'm
from
asking.
Italy, you know, sorry.
That's why I'm asking. Did you taste the wine already?
Yeah, I love the Riesling, the German
Okay,
Riesling.
so you're all set. So have fun with Luca Dell'Oca.
Thank you. So, okay. Thank everyone, and thanks for coming to the session. As the title says, we're going to talk about data protection, which is the business we do in Veeam, for the multi-cloud. Because the reason we talk about the cloud, I mean, it's pretty obvious for everybody. We love the cloud because it gives you all this benefit that we know for a long time. Fractional consumption, rapid time to market, scaling. You can focus on your business because if you're not in IT, you want to consume IT and not build IT, and so on and so forth. And we figured out that one of the biggest use cases has always been the data protection. So data backup, archiving, disaster recovery has always been one of the biggest topics when it comes to consuming cloud resources. Because it's easy, because you can still keep your production data on premises, and you can mix and match your environment and the cloud. But then it comes to the huge question, which is, which cloud? When we were talking about the cloud, which cloud do we mean? Yes, you have your own on-prem solution, which in some cases can already be considered as a cloud system. Because you're big enough as a company, you have internal system that offer self-service, so this is a sort of a private cloud already. And then you can get out on the internet and start to consume some of the available public, private, whatever you want to call it, type of cloud. So which one you want to use? And the answer is pretty simple. All of them, or none of them. Depending on what's your specific use case, you probably get out, take a look at the feature that every cloud provider has. Everybody has their own peculiarities, pros and cons, and you go and choose. Obviously, if you talk with them, they will tell you, destroy everything on-prem, come to me, you'll be fine. Yes, that's not what you want, probably. You want to consume pieces of each cloud, depending on what's your need. So then the problem becomes, how do I move from these different places? Because, yes, the theory is super cool. I have my virtual machine on-prem running on VMware, for example, and I can take it, move it to Amazon, spin it up, but maybe, on the weekend, Azure is cheaper, I don't know, so I move my virtual machine there. Yes, the theory is super cool, but data has gravity. You cannot move 10 terabytes like this. I wish I could, And most important, even before you think about this, you need the tool, the solution that will help you to do this. And it's also important to understand the two major platforms where you can land your workload. The way we think about it can be right, it can be wrong. We usually consider the service provider ecosystem. So service provider we, as Veeam, work with. We develop the software, we give the software to this service provider, and they build the final services that offer to the end user. So we don't have our own cloud services. There is no Veeam cloud. We develop the technology, and we give the technology in the hand of the service providers. And then there are the public cloud provider, or the hyperscalers, whatever you want to call them. So Amazon, Google, Microsoft Azure, where we don't have the software deployed in the core infrastructure, but still, thanks to the API they have, we can interact with them. Now we're going to show you how we do this. Because, as I said, you want to consume multiple cloud, you have multiple use cases, but you also want to go maybe step by step into the public cloud. I mean, we used our own private data center for decades, so maybe you don't want to jump in all of a sudden into the public cloud. You want to do, a step-by-step move. And the first thing you can do is what I like to call data to the cloud. So my production site is on premises, my rack, my data center, my multiple data center, whatever they are. But I want to leverage the cloud storage, so the easiest entry point to the cloud, to move my backups. I don't want to manage my backup storage. I want to consume the backup as a service. How can you do that? In Veeam, we have offer for, again, both. If you want to look at the private service provider, you have, wait, I need to, OK, it's this one, because it's a mirror. The private cloud. So service provider offering a technology we have, which is called Veeam Cloud Connect, where you can consume storage resources from the service provider. So every service provider, we have tens of thousands of service providers across the globe using our software. So you can be pretty sure that you can find a service provider in almost every country. Compare maybe to the public cloud, where you may need to go into a specific country because the data center or the public cloud is there. And depending on the business you have, it may have some problem in exporting data. The software is totally integrated into our client solution. And so you deploy the software on-prem, and you start sending data into the Cloud Connect installation of the service provider. Or you say, I want to consume directly the public cloud. I want to use Amazon S3. I want to use the Azure Blob, IBM Cloud. Every S3 compatible storage or Azure Blob storage is supported by our software. And again, everything is integrated into our software. You give us the credential. We configure it in the software. And you just see the public storage as an additional space in our software. You use it as a target. You land the backup there. Final result, your backup are into the public cloud. OK? Second step, I want to do compute to the cloud, which means, again, my production is still on premises. My workload are running into my private data center. But I want to consume not just the storage of the public cloud. I want to consume the compute part of the cloud. Maybe because I want to do dev and test. I don't want to buy additional resources for doing this. I want to use the public cloud. Remember before we said one of the advantages of the cloud is the fractional consumption. And dev and test is the perfect example. I need to spin up resources, do my test, destroy everything. Another one is DR. DR is something that I pay for with the hope that I will never need to use them. But when I need to do, I need this dormant resource available for me. And the cloud, again, is a perfect example. I don't need to buy a second data center to build a second data center. I just buy the resources I need for doing DR. Or I need this technology because, yes, I finally decided I want to go all in into the cloud, and I need to move all my workload into that. For this one, again, two different options. Cloud Connect can also do replication. So every provider offering Cloud Connect replication can be the target for replicating your virtual machine coming from VMware, coming from Hyper-V, so the most common hypervisor, and replicate them into the private cloud of a service provider. The day you need, the virtual machine are already replicated there, ready to be powered on. With all the additional technology we have, like re-IPing the machine, reconfiguring all the network, doing all the activities for you. But again, the point is you're not using your own resources for doing DR. Then if you want to do the public cloud, we have this technology which is called direct restore to EC2. But what you're seeing now, it works at the same time for Amazon and Azure. OK? It doesn't matter where your workload is coming from. It can be a virtual machine coming from VMware, Hyper-V, physical Windows machine, physical Linux machine. It can be Amazon instance that you have backed up before, and I will explain you later how you do backups of Amazon. It doesn't matter. Once they land into our software, you can just take this workload and make them become an EC2 virtual machine. We do all the conversion operation for you, because one of the other points that the public cloud doesn't explain you is that, yes, it's all service-based, it's all API-based, but there is a founding infrastructure behind every cloud, and they are not the same. Amazon is based on KVM, Microsoft is based on Hyper-V, so there is a lot of operation that has to be done in the background to convert a workload to be ready to be consumed into a cloud. We do all this operation together with the movement of the data. And as I said before, we do the same for Azure. So you can choose between moving data from one cloud to the other, back on-prem, up on the public cloud again, or into a private cloud. And then it comes the last point. You say, OK, my production site is the public cloud now. I completely removed my on-prem solution. I want to be agile, and everything is running into public cloud. But maybe I still want to protect myself from any problem that can happen, like accidental deletion or attacks that I can receive. Because if somebody gets access to my cloud account, they can delete stuff. And I've heard tons of stories of this thing happening. But then I got some people asking me, do you really need to protect the public cloud? What do you think? No, I'm Italian, so I love to do pizza examples. And there is this thing, also Amazon has a nice paper on this, which is called the shared responsibility model, which basically means you are doing business together with the cloud provider, and there are pieces of the service that are in charge of the service provider, and pieces of the service that are in charge of you. Thinking about pizza, you can say, OK, I don't want to do anything. I want to buy a full service. I go to the made in-house, or as we would call it, a restaurant, where the provider does everything for you. Or you say, I want to do everything myself, like I would do on-prem, which is my house, in my case, and I will have to do everything. The service provider business is in between. They give you the infrastructure. They guarantee that your virtual machine are going to be up and running for 99.8 or whatever is the SLA you agreed. But what's inside the service, it's you. Because it's your data, and so every service provider will tell you it's your responsibility to protect them. As long as you go into a public cloud. Then obviously, if you talk about the service provider, private service provider, they may have additional managed services where they also offer you data protection as an additional service to the infrastructure. So, say I move my data to Amazon. How do I get data back? And now we have the last component of our technology I'm going to talk today, which is the Cloud Protection Manager. This is a technology which is cloud native, is deployed in Amazon, and even without thinking about exporting data, the software allows you to protect many workloads you have in Amazon. So we're talking about EC2, but also DynamoDB, Redshift, Aurora, and some others, by making backup of this data, also doing things that cannot be done with a native API, like single item restore. I want to restore a single file of an entire ABS snapshot. I want to replicate data into another region. Or I create a secondary account, and I replicate data into a third account, into AWS, so that if my account is compromised, and somebody tries to delete all my data, they may be successful, but my data is replicated into another account of AWS. OK, but this is obviously, as somebody may say, still all inside AWS. What if I want to move out? If you want to move out, the technology allows you to do a copy of your data into an object storage copy, so in S3 in this case. With the software you used to run on-prem, so the usual software we used in the past for doing backup of virtual machine, we mount the S3 bucket as a storage. We see the backup inside the storage, and we do an additional copy on premises. Or if you deploy a software in another cloud, the final result is the copy is stored into a different cloud provider. So this allows you to do the copy out from the public cloud. And we're talking today about AWS. By the end of the year, you will be able to apply the same topic to Azure. So in and out of Amazon, in and out of Azure, from private cloud to private cloud, on-prem, allowing you, as we said at the beginning, and this is the closing of the presentation, data mobility between all the different clouds you may have to use or you want to use. OK.
All All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Luca.
Thank
If
you.
you have any further questions, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone to be thrown at you. Here comes the mic.
Okay, so you claim that you can export, for example, an instance from Amazon, and I could re-import it into my local, let's
Yes.
say, VMware. How, maybe it's a little bit too technical, but how are you going to handle issues with drivers, those kind of things?
Oh, we do all the conversion for you. That's the point. Yes. During the movement, what I said, we do all this background operation you don't see, but we change even the BIOS setting because Amazon has some strange BIOS configuration. We do that for you. We remove the Xen driver, we put the VMware driver, and all this kind of operation, both for vSphere and Hyper-V, and also on the way back, we convert the virtual machine to be compatible with Amazon technology.
There is a set of operating systems which you will be supporting.
Oh, for the import, for the export, basically we support what Amazon support. Because for the import-export, again, it's API-based, so there is a specific import API from Amazon, and the list of operating systems they support is also what we support, because we use their own API.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
There's one question right behind there.
Yep.
Hi, thanks for the talk. Can I back up my Azure virtual machines directly to AWS S3?
Ooh,
Like
yes.
a backup from one
Well,
cloud to another cloud?
well, there is different degrees what you mean directly, but yes, it can be done.
Okay.
So you deploy the software inside Azure. As I said, for now it's agent-based in Azure. It will become API-based at the end of the year. But the agent can target the software that you install on Amazon, and then you say to the software on Amazon to land the data into S3.
Okay,
So
but
it has to be designed a little bit, but it can be done, yes.
But I still need a Veeam installation, like on-premise or on another.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Correct. From there.
Hi,
Yep.
you mentioned that you could take a non-virtualized machine, say a Windows agent, straight into AWS and recover it there. Can you file that back to a standalone machine, or does it have to file back to Hyper-V or VMware VM?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but the point was maybe was not clear. Once the backup landed into our software, it doesn't matter anymore where it was coming from. So it was a physical machine, but then it's just a workload. And we upload it to Amazon. And once it's in Amazon, it's just an EC2. You don't have any idea where it was coming from. So you can...
But then can that come back to a physical machine from
yeah.
Amazon? Yeah.
It takes a little bit of work, but it can be done, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions? All right.
Okay.
So
Then, just one thing I forgot,
Sure.
because otherwise my marketing team will kill me. We are at the booth E3, if you
We don't
want
want
to
that.
know more. So we are there the full day, so please come by.
so you will survive this CloudFest. We're happy. We're so happy for that.
Me
Okay.
too.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Luca.
Thank you
okay.
again.